Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today's the 11th of June. It is a Wednesday. We are looking at the markets here. Markets have really been, this is the SPY, really been struggling higher. Granted, higher all along, even though, like I said, I had been kind of expecting a rollover at this point, which I highlighted in many examples. We just continue to melt moderately upward, and there is no stopping it, it seems like. I still do believe that we have a chance of a rollover. We have not breached this upper zone, which would be our breakout level around 613, 614. As long as we stay below that level, there is a chance of a breakdown. So I need you to be aware of that. We are in a broad consolidation range here. You can see really within this range, within this high range here, 614, this low range down here, 480, 480, 482, 481, we're looking at the consolidation low, and we're looking at now the consolidation high being up in this area. We have continued to push a bit higher, and this gives us a very solid new uh, ultimate high. We continue to push above these highs, so understand that part of Fibonacci price theory is the concept that price must attempt to make new highs and lows. We set a high back over here. I'm going to move my little bullish signal right there. We set that high. We pushed above it with this big gap. We rallied up to set this high. We pushed above it just recently. Okay, now we rally up to yesterday's high, right up there. And at this particular point in time, we're looking at this being our new high, 602. Close yesterday, 603. We're currently pre-market 602.27, down about 80 cents. We are looking at a bottom rally start in counter trend mode. Counter trend would indicate that this would be a top sell-off start. Potentially tomorrow is a base rally. So I'm looking for a bit of rotation today. If my patterns are correct, we're likely going to see some sort of a rotation and maybe a bounce tomorrow, and then some more carry forward trending, possibly to the downside. Very interesting rollover pattern setting up with this counter trend bottom rally start structure. So understand that this bottom rally start in a trending mode would normally be some sort of a bottom like this setting up. Whereas in a counter trend mode, it's kind of like a topping pattern setting up. So we have a very interesting potential rollover, potential move to the downside today. We'll see if it plays out. I mean, the markets have just continually wanted to melt up through this trend. Maybe the 603 area is finally going to be our top. We shall see. If price continues to get above this 603 level, which could happen, then, we're off to the races, guys. It looks like it may just continue to roll higher. Now, gold and silver are rolling as well. It's the first time we've seen silver roll over like this after hitting 37. And again, this is hourly. So we have a pretty substantial little rolling over of trend. Now, I mentioned that silver would roll like this, possibly down back to the 36 level. With metals moving down like this, gold struggling in this uptrend, you can see this kind of an uptrend here. Kind of in that mode. Gold does look like it's going to form a bit of a base. We could get a bit of a rally here. The gold cycle patterns are a Gap-Stall-Revert-FLUSH. Now, in this particular case, we could get a gap. We could get a stalling pattern. We could get a reversion pattern, or we could get a flush pattern. A flush pattern is kind of like a pop or a crush pattern, in the sense that a flush pattern moves the markets quite aggressively, but a reversion stall gap would indicate that we would try to revert back to some mean level. So, if you take a look at standard deviation channels, we'll just come from here over to here, figure out what the standard deviation channel would be. We'll do the same thing here. We'll shrink this up a bit, figure out what a standard deviation channel would be. So, a reversion here, let's go to 4 hour. It's a pretty good reversion. Let's go with another reversion channel from here to here. Yeah, so see, we're getting pretty common reversions. Let's do another reversion channel from these lows up to here. So, long and short of it, if we were to get a reversion back to the upside or in any range in gold, that would be a reversion from roughly here, potentially back up into the 42.25 area. And in silver, that would likely be a move from, I doubt we'd come down that far. Let me come back and check. Yeah, maybe. Silver's tough to call. Silver's been in this big breakout, but I mean, the reversion level that I see would be right back here, 35.40. And that would be a pretty big move for silver down into this area and then back up. You don't think that silver and platinum are going to move that low. Remember, platinum's been a big mover, as well. And as you can see here, this is daily. And if we get a Gap-Stall-Revert-FLUSH, looking at this regression channel from here to here, that would suggest that a reversion might be down into this area. That's a mean price level. But I just have a tough time seeing a big breakdown taking place unless the markets absolutely collapse today, which I don't think they're going to do. So that would mean that we're looking more towards kind of a stalling or a flushing or a gapping pattern. Now, platinum right now is open. You can see we've had a huge rally, another 4% rally in platinum. Huge move in platinum. Silver and gold likely see some sort of a follow-through move to the upside today. We will see over here. We'll see how this plays out and if we get some sort of a rally in metals. But really, if we get anything, we could get a little bit of a flush type of a pattern, which might roll into, I would think, kind of this type of a trend here, which would mean maybe a little lower here and then back up to the upside. So we shall see. But again, the gap stall revert pattern, this would be a reversion, I would think, move to the upside. This would be more of a flush pattern and would probably be following platinum here, which this is the daily chart for platinum, really getting that big explosive move to the upside, continuing upward. And I think silver is going to follow platinum for a while. Okay, lastly, we go to Bitcoin. 109,256, stalling out, got back above the previous high again. You can see back over here, back above this previous high, still in this bullish trend. until we get back below that 103,500 level. And again, that 103,500 level is kind of like my target area. And what we're looking at here is kind of a rolling sideways, I would say topping pattern, but I don't want to mislead some of you. It is still bullish until it breaks down, and it has to break down below. They moved things. Has to break down below this level here to really get to the downside. And then I would say that we would have to get, down below this second level. That's 101,400 or 101,450. And this would be the 103. Wow, that's lock. And that would be the 103,500 level, roughly. And that gives us a pretty good solid breakdown. And it really comes down to these Fibonacci levels, finding these lows, coming up to these highs. And you can see that 102,730 level off of those highs tells us where we need to be. And that's really that 103,500 level that I'm highlighting across support. So it's this level here, which is our breakdown level. And once we get below that level, which is really this middle area I've drawn here with these arrows, that's where we're looking for a fairly big breakdown. So we'll see if it happens again today. Okay, guys, go back over here to the SPY. Let's see how the markets open and trade today. Remember, we're still in an uptrend until it breaks downward. So at this point, price never goes straight up or straight down. So we've had a pretty good recovery. We're back up near highs. We'll see how it plays out. Price could obviously continue to move higher. We've gapped above this channeling level. You can see here. Gapping above that channel. We're up in this extended kind of overbought area. I've gone over this extensively. Price will continue to melt upward until it fails. And then I really think we're going to be coming down here to this 575 level, trying to test these lows before we decide if we get any lower. So in the meantime, expect upward trending, today being a bottom rally start pattern in counter trend. I read that as a top sell-off start, and we'll see if it actually shows up. It might be a moderate sell-off, not a very aggressive sell-off. So as I was trying to explain to you, if we were to look at this from a standpoint of what could happen, even if it was a fairly aggressive selling point, we'd be looking maybe at that kind of a move. Okay, maybe back down into the 593, a 10-point move, 8-point, 10-point move in the S&P would be pretty big. Okay, that'd be about a percentage and a half. Okay, guys, that's it. Talk to you later.